Yes. What you saying is a Chivalry base boxing basement right here for the funds like again. Anyway, do another video. I was going to do a live. I mean, I still might, but I've ordered some greens, and come on, man. Like, well, when I've done greens, I'm like a retard. You know what I'm saying? I can barely talk. I talk slowly. It does give you some weird tangents, though. Like, there is definitely some. It does definitely bring some, different perspective to how you look at things. But anyway, I'll do a quick video. So James Degale, you remember the ex-world champion, James Degale, who I used to despise. I despised him. He was so, what's the word? He was so rude to George Groves, and George Groves basically rinsed him because he's way too bright. But, and he won the fight, and I won a lot of money. I won $1,000 on that fight, and I put on, what's his name? I used to have, that was back in the day when I had some cash money, but I think it might even have been 1,200 quid, and I put it was something like 12-1. I put it on Groves points, because I wasn't convinced by Degale. And I didn't like him because he was disrespectful. He was making fun of him for being ginger. And, if it was the other way around, if George Groves was saying, James Degale, but you're, a mixed race mongrel and this kind of thing, he would have been destroyed and cancelled. But, Degale got away with it, because it's okay to criticize white people's in it, allegedly. I mean, it isn't, but I don't care. Actually, I think, as I said this a million times, I think you should be able to criticize whoever you want, unless you're saying this person needs to be killed. You should have free speech and say what you want. I don't care. Like Spencer Fearing, obviously a racist. I'm like, okay, fine, I ain't got no problem with you. He hates white people. I hate him too, but that's just because he's ugly. He's got a retarded prefrontal lobe. He thinks he's intelligent when he's a bum. Prince Patel called him Spencer 4 rounds because David Walker knocked him out despite a huge weight discrepancy. That was a fun fight. But Spencer Fear is a bum. But what I'm trying to say here, right, is that James Degale, right, has decided to go into BKFC. That's Bareknuckle Fighting Championship. You feel me? And if you haven't watched it, man, I'd say go and watch it. There's one event it's in America. There's one event, tonight. I think it involves an ex-pro boxer. The problem is with Bareknuckle and Conor McGregor. Okay, the good thing about the BKFC is Conor McGregor's got involved, but he needs to fight in it, even against the bum, because then you're going to get so much press and headlines. But I don't know if that Yayo sniffer is ever going to step back. He keeps on saying, I'll come back to the UFC and all that. Man, you haven't fought for like 4 years. What you been doing is PEDs and a Yayo. But, and he's a businessman now. He's got whiskey, ting. He's got BKFC. You don't need to fight. But if he had any brains, he would fight in BKFC. As I said, even against the bum, he would destroy. It would get so many eyes. So many eyes. People would be desperate to watch it. Especially as he ain't fought for so long. And he's done movies and stuff like that. He did a remake of that film with Patrick Swayze. I can't remember what it was called. But it was whack anyway. But, so James Degale has joined BKFC. Now, he's only 39. When I say only 39, I mean, it's not a young buck. But it's not like 45 and that. Yeah. And he's, fighting on BKFC. I don't know how big the paydays are. Apparently the biggest paydays for the biggest stars are $500,000, which isn't bad. But James Degale, he's not known in America. Yeah. He was never liked in the UK. He must have made some money. He won the World Championship. You know? You know what I think about James Degale? Is it James Degale? James Degale. Is it a French name? I don't know, man. Is he from Martinique or Guadeloupe? You know? Or is it like Monsieur James Degale? James Degale. Because he's mixed, isn't he? You know, maybe he had a French grandfather who was an oil driller. You know, I don't know about that. Also, he got a sister, and yeah, to be frank with you know, especially if you like, you know, mixed women, and all the white boys are sweeping up the mixed girls. Like I say, Ben's daughter, you know, Eubank's daughter, all the white boys, the white chads. You know, I got a big pal, and he loves a bit of, you know, he just, he goes, you know, don't mind a bit of a mixed race pum pum, you know. And to be honest, they can be quite attractive. I don't like necessarily I mean, white girl or whatever girl, I don't really like curly hair. It's not really for me. I once went out with a girl with curly hair, and she used to straighten it, and one time she didn't. I was like, what's going on, man? What's up with your hair? But, you know, I still smashed her. But, yeah, so James Degale. And his sister. Here's a picture of his sister. I mean, she's quite hot, to be honest with you. But it's not necessarily my thing. But, you know, if I was going to oil drill, I would oil drill James Degale's sister. You imagine how nuts Sonny Edwards and Otto Wadin go over seeing James Degale's sister. Now, the question is, right? Obviously, the question is, I mean, the thing is, BKFC, as I said, it's full of has-beens and street fighters, whether they're MMA boxers or, you know, ex-pro boxers. And the pro boxers, some of them have been waxed. Austin Trout won the world championship, but he's actually quite boring. But, you know, BKFC's a different school, bro. Frankie Gavin got knocked out in 50 seconds. Jamie Cox. And these guys are still youngish, you know. Hannah Rankin, I mean, this is hilarious. Got absolutely flattened. I mean, laid out. And, you know, you rarely see that in women's fighting. She got absolutely flatlined. And I couldn't help but laugh. The bassoonist, you know, going from being a bassoonist, yeah, to getting laid out flat in bare knuckle boxing. So I give her credit because it takes guts to do bare knuckle boxing. Because like MMA might be the most useful fighting, you know, what's it called, a martial art, because you train in every kind of martial art. When it comes to toughness, bare knuckle is a different kettle of fish. I've seen boxers quit, you know, ex-pro boxers quit. You know, and there's a bunch of MMA guys in there too, and a bunch of street fighters. And I think there's an event. Let me tell you this for nothing, man. Let me tell you this for nothing. You know, it's exciting. It's full of KOs, even though it's only 5 2-minute rounds. So it's vicious. The injuries. I mean, you know, I would. I'm definitely starting to pick up on it because pro boxing is getting so whack. They don't make the big fights. And often they make the big fights and they're whack. Remember, the Times Square one with, who was it? That bum, Devin Ganey, Ryan Gacy, and the other idiot, Bob I can't remember his name. And then, you know, and then you got guys like Shakur Stevenson, you know. The guy that fought Canelo. Who's the guy that fought Canelo? Man, my memory must be gone. I must have early onset of dementia. Was it William Skull or something? No, it wasn't. It was someone else. Anyway, whatever. He was whack. Even David Morrell, yeah, when he boxed last time, it was boring, man. It was boring. Whereas BKFC, even if you don't know the guys, you're guaranteed excitement. 9% of fights end up with brutal KOs. Brutal KOs. You You know what I'm saying? So James Degale's entering this. Now, James Degale is not a guy. He's a idiot. He's a low IQ. You know what I'm saying? His eyes are too close together, actually, if you look. But he's signed up to BKFC, right? He'll find it a different game. Like I said, he's 39, which is not young, but relatively young. He's not like he's... I've seen Chaz the Bum Simons. Yeah, you remember that bum from Croydon? Who was bragging about how he thought he was going to be a star, and then he got knocked out by, what's his face? Alan Minter's son, Ross Minter. Yeah, and he got battered, and he fought at 53 or something. He's 53-year-old. I've seen other old boys fight. It's nuts, man. But I like it. I agree with it. Let them have the chance. I just want to see someone get ironed out. I don't want to see, there's a Ricky Hatton head. Hey, it's not a tickling contest. Hey. Well, to be honest, Ricky Hatton was an exciting fighter. But Floyd Mayweather and people like that are just boring as anything. Pro boxing seems to be losing its shine. So Degale has gone to BKFC. Now, I don't know how much money he earned. He must have earned a few million. I mean, he wasn't a big star, but still, he won a world title. He had some big fights. George Groves and other people. I can't remember. He won his world title abroad, I think. I'm really getting dementia. I can't I can't even remember these stuff. I can remember almost all of the fights in the 80s and 90s and the early 2000s, but the recent ones, I don't know, man. I just can't remember. I can remember most of Frank Bruno's fights, because I was obsessed even though I was a little young kid, and he fought mostly bums, and he's a bum as well. But, Frank Bruno. But, so anyway, Degale. Why is he doing it? Well, the most obvious answer is money. I don't think they pay that much, but I think Mike Perry, who used to be a UFC fighter, a tough guy, he even got knocked out by Jake Paul, but even he gets like $500,000 for the main event, which isn't bad for a has-been, But James Degale, I don't know. I don't know what kind of paydays. I can't imagine he'll get more than 50 grand because he got so many fights on the show as well. So many fights because they've only 5 2-minute rounds. So for a whole show that lasts 3 hours, you get loads of fights, man. And for the punters, that's great because you see a lot of violence. I've actually been to see a Bareknuckle show in the flesh. Blood clot. It's a different experience, man. That's like watching true violence. If you get seats in pro boxing and you're right near the ring, even then you hear the punches, you can see the power, but bare knuckle boxing is a different thing, blood, and it's all about toughness, ability to take a punch and power. It's not that skillful, Mayweather will get destroyed by some street fighting bum. Because all this leaning back and stupid rubbish like that, and leaning back and doing that Philly shell and that don't work in bare knuckle, because you're allowed to hold and hit. So I'd grab him and punch him in the face. Plus, he's a pussy hole anyway. I mean, why would anyone box like that if they weren't a pussy hole? So he did manage to knock out Ricky Hatton, which kind of surprised me. But Ricky was ripped off in that fight. The referee was terrible. But yeah, James Degale, so he's come back. What do I expect him to do? I don't know. It just depends how tough he is. I mean, we've just seen Jamie Cox, Ryan Aston, Frankie Gavin, all good boxers get absolutely battered. So, and then you got Austin Trout, who's the world champion. So they're, even though he's a boring fighter. So that's a weird one. It's a strange. I'm looking forward to it. I don't particularly like Degale. I thought he was low IQ. His eyes are too close together, He talks too much, but he's not intelligent. You get them guys that like try and gibber, talk all this nonsense and insult people, but they're not intelligent enough, and all they do is steal other people's lines, like Chris Rock's lines or something. I got the skills to pay the bills. Know what I'm saying? It's like, man, get your own lines. Don't go stealing people's lines. You're a bum. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think, is it the future? I don't know. I think pro boxing is becoming like WWE, but boxing has such a big history and it's covered a lot more, especially in the sports pages. They're not going to cover bare knuckle in the sports pages. Yeah, if it's big enough, yeah, it will be somewhere in the paper, but it doesn't have the same publicity. As I said, if Conor McGregor went in, even against the bum, why not have Conor McGregor if he's Paulie Malignaggi? McGregor, in my opinion, would smash him. Because Paulie's got no punch. He's got weak hands. McGregor's aggressive, right? And he's tough. We don't know. He hasn't fought for ages, but I'm pretty sure he'd batter Malignaggi. There may be a weight difference, but you can always find, so what? Put on some weight, Paulie. Yeah, Guido. Put on with your frosted. You remember when he used to have frosted tips on his hair? He was the ultimate Guido, like Jersey Shore. But yeah, something like that would bring a lot of publicity, a lot of eyes, a lot of press. So, but yeah, I look forward to Degale fighting. I'll definitely watch it. I ain't paying for it, but I think BKFC is on DAZN, but it's all free. It's all free. Well, it's not free. It's like if you subscribe, you can see it. It's not pay-per-view. If McGregor fought, it would be. Yeah. And I think 5 2-minute rounds is even though most guys seem to get ironed out in the second round, weirdly, I think 5 2-minute rounds is a little... It is not enough. It's not enough action. If you're watching the action from the cuck chair like Otto Wallin, there's not enough action. Okay, guys? But, I think 5 threes would be reasonable. I don't know why they only do 2-minute rounds. But yeah, I look forward to Degale fighting. The more names we get in bare knuckle fighting, the more popular it gets. And let me tell you, it's an entertaining night to watch. The crowds are different though. They're bloodthirsty. They want blood. They want destruction and violence. But so do I, man. Especially when you paid money. You paid a lot of money. Imagine paying like a few grand to be ringside for a Shakur Stevenson fight. Or something like that. Or if you're so much of a bum, you've actually paid to watch Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano. Much better spend your money on bare knuckle boxing. And yeah, I hope Degale does get beaten up. I'm not being especially a hater, but I think he's a fool. His eyes are too close together. Yeah. And he's too full of himself. So to get a good beating, when you get beaten in bare knuckle boxing, it's not a few bumps and bruises, bro. Your face looks like it's been butchered. Butchered. So yeah, let's hope we see that. Peace in the Middle East.